Всім добрий вечір.
On behalf of the brave, on behalf of every father and every mother who waits for freedom, on behalf of our warriors, and paves the way for a new history.
Hello and welcome to Tochnyi Weekly, the show that gets behind the headlines to discuss the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Hope you guys enjoyed a little foray into holiday music there. We were just feeling a bit festive over at the basement and at Tochnyi, and yeah, I think Gick threw some stuff together, so we thought it was amusing. So this week we have a pretty light show for you. You know, as I said, it's the holidays. Most of our staff is busy doing holiday things as they do and as they should. But you know, we wanted to have at least I'll put it this way: the stuff, nothing stopped in terms of the war. So we wanted to make sure to cover at least on a basic level. So for sure, this week I will be presenting the news as I always do. I accidentally cut a couple things, so I'll jump in and do a couple extra bits as well. And then after that, we'll have a report from Germany to Ukraine, as we always do. And then we'll have a Q&A section. So we're pretty open for Q&A, I would say, today, if you guys are interested in asking any questions. Hopefully you guys saw, I think it was yesterday. It's kind of all a blur because European time and American time. But recently, within the last 2 days, Ben, our contributor Ben, is economist Ben, we sometimes call him because there's a couple Bens, made a really great stream with a bunch of really great contributors and economists about the current state of the Russian economy, what's going on there. I think it's really fantastic. It's one of our finer interview panel shows. I hope we can do more of those, and I think Ben did a really good job moderating. It's a topic that I really wish would get covered more in general, and I would hope that we can cover more. So it's really great to see a really in-depth discussion from experts on what's going on with the Russian economy, because it is a big mess, but I think there's a lot of oversimplifications or misconceptions that happen in the mainstream reporting about it. I do my best to give you guys like substantial information when I can, but you know, I think there's nothing better than hearing it from actual economists for sure. Anyway, check that out. Check out the interview that Ben did with the panel that he had a couple days ago on our YouTube channel. Please do subscribe so that you're notified when Ben randomly decides to have a panel show the day before. Yeah, because we'll do our best to promote stuff, but sometimes you know, we have guests or things where it doesn't work for the Sunday broadcast, or they want to do something really quick. And so to subscribe on YouTube, and also to follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky are the two main social media forums we're active on. That will help you guys stay notified. Also check out our website at Tochnyi.info. I feel like I'm dragging out the intro a little bit this week, so I'll go ahead and now jump right into the news. These are the main headlines as of December 29th, 2024. On Wednesday morning, a drone crash occurred in the Russian Republic of Ingushetia, and reports of a UAV attack surfaced in Grozny, the capital of Chechnya. According to Mahmoud Ali Kalimatov, the head of Ingushetia, the drone went down in the city of Maglobek. Social media users shared videos showing a drone flying over Maglobek earlier in the day, followed by footage depicting the wreckage of the aircraft lying in a field. Meanwhile, additional reports from the Chechen resistance group NISO indicated a separate drone assault on facilities used by Russian security forces in Chechnya. Preliminary accounts suggest multiple explosions, with reports of 4 to 5 blasts in the vicinity of the SWAT 2nd Regiment's base. Hazmat Kadyrov, the secretary of the Security Council and nephew of Chechnya's leader, acknowledged the drone incident in the region and emphasized that the situation is being addressed, quote, effectively. Ukrainian long-range drones recently targeted an ammunition depot at the Kadamovsky military training ground in Russia's Rostov Oblast, according to a source from Ukraine Security Service. The facility is located near Novocherkassk and is one of Russia's largest training grounds. The source claimed that the depot was completely destroyed by drones operated by the SBU. The destroyed depot was allegedly a key supply point for Russian forces operating in the Kramatorsk area of Donetsk Oblast. The source indicated that its destruction has created a major logistical challenge for Russian troops, impacting their ability to conduct military operations in the area. However, the claims are unverified by independent open sources. Ukrainian Defense Forces targeted the command posts of Russia's 810th Guards Naval Infantry Brigade in the village of Lgov, located in Russia's Kursk Oblast. The Center for Strategic Communications of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported the incident on Facebook and stated that the command post had been operating from an abandoned civilian building. According to Stratcom, the attack aligns with broader efforts to disrupt the Russian military's capacity to coordinate operations against Ukraine in the area. Andrei Kovalenko, who leads the Center for Countering Disinformation, stated that the strike resulted in casualties among Russian officers. Reports from Russian Telegram channels citing the acting governor of Kursk Oblast also confirmed casualties linked to the attack in Lgov. Ukrainian volunteer engineers are nearing completion on a new cruise missile project named Trembita, capable of reaching Moscow, according to The Economist. The missile is in its final phase of testing, with plans for mass production expected to begin shortly thereafter. The basic Trembita model achieves a speed of 400 km per hour and has a range of 200 km, while a more advanced version with extended range capabilities is under development. Engineers have remarkably progressed from concept to near production readiness within just 18 months, a notably short timeline for missile development, which typically spans several years. It is equipped with a modernized pulse jet engine, and it is considered to emphasize affordability and versatility. Each missile is armed with a warhead of about 20 to 30 kilograms and costs approximately $15,000, while decoy versions are significantly cheaper at around $3,000. These cost-effective designs make the Trembita a practical solution for overwhelming enemy air defenses. A fire described as devastating by Ukrainian military intelligence erupted at a warehouse storing Shahed drone components in the Alabuga Special Economic Zone located in Russia's Tatarstan region. The incident was reported on December 23rd and destroyed drone parts valued at $16 million. The warehouse housed 65 drone fuselages along with engines, navigation systems, and thermal imaging cameras intended for the assembly of around 400 Shahed-type drones, according to HUR. The Alabuga zone is home to the Yelabuga Drone Factory, a facility established in July 2023 to manufacture Shahed drones and Albatross reconnaissance drones for the Russian military. Situated around 1,300 kilometers from the Russia-Ukraine border, the factory has played a critical role in producing drones regularly used by Russia in attacks against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. HUR did not claim responsibility for the fire, but referred to it as a, quote, mysterious and devastating fire in its statement. Local authorities in Tatarstan did not report any fire in the zone on the night of December 23rd. This comes days after drones struck Kazan, Tatarstan's regional capital, on December 21st, damaging several buildings. This is not the first time the Yelabuga facility has been targeted. Ukrainian drones reportedly struck the site in April. The Ukrainian Air Force targeted a facility in Kamensk-Shakhtinsky in Rostov Oblast, responsible for producing solid propellant for ballistic missiles, according to a report by Ukraine's Center for Strategic Communications on December 26th. The missiles have reportedly been used in attacks on civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, including hospitals, residential areas, and power facilities. Stratcom characterized the strike as part of a coordinated effort to diminish the Russian military's capacity to conduct such operations against Ukrainian civilians. The attack follows a series of Ukrainian strikes in Rostov Oblast aimed at disrupting Russia's military supply chains. On December 25th, long-range Ukrainian drones reportedly destroyed an ammunition depot at the Katimovsky military training ground, according to a source from Ukraine's security service. A day earlier, drones targeted the military base in Milarovo, as stated by the local acting governor. There is currently no open-source information available about this strike. On December 26th, Ukraine struck a facility in Oryol Oblast used for storing and repairing Russian Shahed drones, resulting in the deaths of 2 Russian military personnel and injuries to 7 others. The strike was confirmed by Ukraine's general staff and involved 3 Storm Shadow missiles hitting the site between the villages of Symbulova and Rudnevo in the Bolkhov district. The military operation reportedly targeted reinforced concrete shelters housing Shahed drones and their maintenance facilities. According to the Ukrainian General Staff, the attack significantly disrupted Russia's capacity to launch airstrikes on Ukrainian civilian infrastructure using the drones. Russia's Astra news agency reported on the strike, which occurred around 1540 local time, although no official Russian sources such as the Defense Ministry have commented on the incident. Local authorities acknowledged a missile threat but did not release details about damage, and injured personnel, according to Astra, were transported to the Central District Hospital. Up next, we have economy news. The United States is preparing to unveil a substantial military aid package for Ukraine valued at $1.25 billion US. This support is aimed at bolstering Ukraine's defenses and is expected to include a variety of ammunition, artillery shells, and interceptors for advanced air defense systems. The package reportedly contains munitions for the NASAMS and Hawk air defense systems, as well as Stinger missiles and artillery rounds for 155 and 105 millimeter caliber. The announcement is expected to be officially made on Monday, December 30th, and is part of the Biden administration's broader effort to expedite assistance to Kyiv before the administration concludes its term on January 20th. The first unit of the Ukrainian Legion, established in Poland, has departed for Ukraine, according to Vasyl Bodnar, Ukraine's ambassador to Poland. He noted that while the initial group of volunteer fighters would continue their training on Ukrainian soil, the process is progressing steadily. The next wave of volunteers will be expected to formalize their enlistment contracts with the Ukrainian Armed Forces on January 10th and will undergo training at a facility in Poland. Bodnar stated that the initiative represents a notable achievement, despite attempts by some politicians and Russian propaganda to frame it negatively. Efforts are underway to promote awareness of the program not only across European Union member states, but also potentially in other regions. The ambassador emphasized the entirely voluntary nature of the unit, with participation driven by individual commitment rather than external pressure. While specific numbers of volunteers in the initial deployment were not disclosed, earlier reports indicated that the Ukrainian Legion in Poland had received around 500 applications from individuals in 30 different countries as of early November. Ukraine has secured a $485 million US financial aid package from the United States and World Bank as part of the Peace in Ukraine project, according to a statement by Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal. The funding includes $465 million US contributed by the US via USAID and an additional $20 million provided by the World Bank. The funds are designated to cover social and humanitarian expenditures within Ukraine's state budget, addressing critical needs amid ongoing challenges. Shmyhal expressed gratitude to the United States, USAID, and the World Bank for their continued support of the Ukrainian people. The U.S. Department of Commerce's Bureau of Industry has levied a $3.3 million civil penalty against Integra Technologies Incorporated, a California-based company, for violating export controls by shipping transistors and related components to Russia. These products, which have potential applications in avionics and radar systems, are critical to Russia's military capabilities. The exported items were classified as common high-priority list products, components specifically sought by Russia for its defense and industrial base and weapon programs involved in the conflict in Ukraine. Although Integra uses intermediaries, it was aware that the end users were in Russia, as its distribution agreements required disclosure of the final user's name and country. Integra voluntarily disclosed its violations and cooperated with the investigation, leading to a reduced penalty of the $3.3 million fine. Around half the fine has been suspended due to the company's limited financial capacity. Integra must pay the remaining $1.8 million by September 2027, and if the company breaches the settlement agreement, it will be required to pay the full amount of the fine immediately. The BIS attributed violations to deficiencies in Integra's export compliance program, which failed to track updates to export administration regulations. As a result, the company did not recognize that the products required a license for export to Russia after February 2023. Integra maintained that it believed the components were intended solely for civilian applications. Following the discovery of the violations in October, the company ceased all shipments to Russian users and filed a voluntary disclosure with BIS. Ukraine has imported liquefied natural gas from the United States for the first time, utilizing a terminal in Greece. The development will further assist Ukraine and Europe with replacing natural gas on the European market. And finally, this week we have international relations. Ukraine has initiated contact with the new Syrian leadership, marking a potential shift in relations between the two nations. According to a spokesperson for Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the outreach has included discussions at the ministerial level. Ukraine severed diplomatic ties with Syria in June 2022 after the Assad government recognized the independence of Russian-occupied territories in Donbass. In response, Ukraine also imposed a trade embargo on Syria. Ukraine emphasized that any restoration of diplomatic relations would depend on Syria reversing its stance on Ukraine's territorial integrity. Kyiv expressed its readiness to reestablish ties if the new Syrian leadership demonstrates a commitment to respecting Ukraine's sovereignty. Reports suggest that Ukrainian intelligence operatives provided material support, including drones, to Syrian opposition forces during their advance. The assistance was reportedly part of Ukraine's broader strategy to counter Russia and its allies in the region, as Syria under Assad had been a close partner of Moscow. President Zelensky also announced on December 27th that Ukraine had sent 500 tons of wheat flour to Syria as humanitarian aid following the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime. The assistance is part of Ukraine's Grain from Ukraine program in collaboration with the World Food Program. The flour will be distributed to 33,000 Syrian families, benefiting approximately 167,000 people over the coming weeks. Pope Francis has agreed to visit Ukraine, although the date of the visit has not yet been set, according to His Beatitude Sviatoslav, the head of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church. In an interview with Radio Liberty, Sviatoslav confirmed that the invitation was extended and accepted, but specifics around the timing remain uncertain. Sviatoslav noted that Pope Francis has a tendency to announce visits with short notice, sometimes just a month in advance. He expressed hope that the upcoming year might not only bring a papal visit, but also peace in Ukraine. The development follows an earlier meeting in December between Metropolitan Epiphanius, head of the Orthodox Church of Ukraine, and Pope Francis at the Vatican. Finnish authorities have detained the Eagle S, an oil tanker suspected of damaging the Estlink 2 submarine power cable, a critical connection between Finland and Estonia. The Finnish border guard intercepted the tanker in Finnish waters, where it is now under police control. The incident occurred in the Gulf of Finland, where the Eagle S was transporting oil from Russia to Egypt. Investigators suspect the ship deliberately severed the power cable along with 4 communication cables while passing through the area. Evidence suggests that the ship's anchor may have caused the damage, as one of its anchors was found severed and showing signs of damage. The Director General of the Finnish police stated that there is substantial reason to believe the vessel was responsible for disrupting the power grid and potentially damaging additional infrastructure. Data from Marine Traffic, a ship tracking service, indicates that the Eagle S slowed down near the location of the cables, which raises further suspicion. The vessel is registered in the Cook Islands and is believed to be part of Russia's Shadow Fleet, a group of older, poorly maintained ships that it uses to bypass international sanctions on oil exports. And finally, the biggest piece of news of the week. Russian air defenses mistakenly downed an Azerbaijan Airlines plane on December 25th near Grozny, Russia, killing 38 people, according to preliminary findings from Azerbaijan's investigation into the crash. The plane, which was traveling from Baku to Grozny before diverting to Kazakhstan, reportedly encountered GPS jamming and interference from electronic warfare systems before being struck by a Russian Pantsir S air defense system, sources familiar with the investigation told Reuters. Investigators from Azerbaijan, corroborated by 3 additional sources and an alert issued by aviation security firm Osprey Flight Solutions, suggest that the wreckage and flight data indicated the aircraft was hit by anti-aircraft fire. The firm also noted GPS disruptions during the plane's flight over southwestern Russia, a region where Russian air defenses are frequently active due to ongoing Ukrainian drone strikes. While Azerbaijan has not accused Russia of intentional actions, it expects Moscow to acknowledge responsibility for the downing. A U.S. official and Azerbaijani minister both attributed the crash to an external weapon, lending further weight to the claim of accidental targeting by Russian defense forces. On December 30th, Russian President Vladimir Putin formally apologized to Azerbaijan's president for what he described as a, quote, tragic incident. The Kremlin acknowledged that air defense systems had been active near Grozny during the time of the crash in response to a Ukrainian drone strike, but stopped short of confirming that one of these systems had struck the aircraft. The crash had 38 fatalities and 29 survivors. And that's it for the news this week. We will now move to the next segment. Not so fast, other Joe. Real quick, I wanted to add 2 things. I feel a bit remiss not to add. The first is that Russia had 2 oil tankers from their Shadow Fleet in the Black Sea during a storm basically got damaged, and leaked a bunch of oil into the Black Sea. Russia has declared a state of emergency. The federal government has, and they've like sort of mobilized as many people as they can to go clean up the oil spill. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty big story. And then the other one is that there are two airfields. There's one in Crimea. I can't find the other one at the moment. But basically, the Russians are hardening Saki airfield in Crimea. It appears that they're trying to protect themselves from Ukrainian missile strikes or maybe drone strikes. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems like Russia is making more efforts to protect airfields from Ukrainian strikes. And I will say, it seems to me like every week there's at least one Ukrainian strike on an airfield. So it sort of makes sense that they would need to start trying to defend those better, I guess. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for the news this week. I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Mr. German Aid to Ukraine.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph. You're the best. Hello, guys. As always, I will now present this week's most important news from Germany regarding Ukraine in a short segment. And we're actually starting with Monday and the latest deliveries of military assistance by Germany to Ukraine. Let me find the video. Here it is. Okay. Over the past 5 weeks, Germany delivered the following equipment to Ukraine, and I just want to point out, I already summarized the list, so it's actually short of what, it's summarized. You know what summarizing is. Germany has delivered one IRIS-T SLM-5 unit, along with 2 additional IRIS-T SLS launchers, 12 kinetic defense vehicles, which are simply explained an IMV with an integrated camera, sensors, and a minigun mounted on a remote-controlled weapon station, 2 Patriot launchers, 2 Cheetah Sparks, so the Dutch version of the Gepard, 14 Hornet XR UAVs, 24 RQ-35 Hydron UAVs, 30 Vector UAVs, 1 Panzerwitze 2000, or Panzerwitze 2000, 15 Leopard 1i5 main battle tanks, 13 FFG MRAPs, 12 Mercedes-Benz Zetros trucks, and 8 additional ones in the tankers version for water and fuel. 1 border protection vehicle, 7 Caracal air assault vehicles, nearly 4,600 DM-22 anti-tank mines, 2 TRML-4D air surveillance radars. This is a radar which is integrated in the IRIS-T SLM-5 unit or systems, and we delivered 2 additional ones. Material for explosive ordnance disposal, 5 mobile remote-controlled and protected demining devices, 800 firearms of different kinds, from assault rifles over machine guns to precision rifles, most of that for Ukrainian special forces, 120 Heckler & Koch GMGs, so the big grenade launchers, ammunition for IRIS-T SLM, Sidewinder missiles, around 65,000 rounds of different kinds of ammunition for the Gepard and Cheetah Sparks, 52,000 155 shells, 15,000 120 mortar shells, ammunition for both the Leopard 1 and Leopard 2 main battle tanks, 20,000 rounds of 40mm ammunition for the automatic grenade launchers, at least 4.3 million rounds of ammunition for basic firearms, 1 million trauma bandages. Bandages? How do I say that, Joseph? I've never thought about it. How do I say that? Bandages? Bandages?
Bandages.
Bandage. Damn. Yeah, bandages. Yeah, of course. 43,000 tourniquets, 5 AMPS self-protection systems for helicopters, emergency power generators, 50 tents, and finally 45 underwater scooters. And before someone asks, I think that's for underwater diving for Ukrainian special forces. Germany also pledged to deliver another 4 kinetic defense vehicles, 2 Patriot launchers, and 20 Marder 1A3 IFVs in the future. Very long and very great list. And I hope nobody went to sleep after that long list. Just one more quick update, thanks to the latest weapon deliveries update. thanks to the update or to the deliveries of 52,155 shells to Ukraine in December, we finally have a total number for the whole year, and I'm really satisfied, to be honest, with that number. In 2024, Germany did finance the delivery of more than 320,155 shells to Ukraine, with, of course, the biggest contribution coming from the SEC ammunition initiative, where Germany financed a total of 180,155 high explosive shells. And, to be honest, 300,000 or 320,155 shells in a single year by Germany alone is a very substantial amount. So I'm happy. I'm happy for once. At least. And just to point out, that graphic you see is from the beginning of the deliveries of 145 shells by Germany. So from, I believe, July 2022, sorry. And it's made by Chris, who's an awesome contributor to a lot of Tochnyi guys here, and also on a regular basis helps me out with my graphics. And that's all I had for this week. Back to you, Joseph.
Jonathan, you wanted to talk about something that I know is very dear to your heart.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I just thought it was necessary to say to anyone who may have found themselves at a social occasion this festive season, you're not alone if you found that there are a great many people like us who hold our values, but few in number are those who will speak for them. We'll speak about them. So if we take a look at what you can see in front of you now, the work of Yale's HRL, we can see an example of the kind of people who work for these values, the values we hold. Yet there are some in our communities which might be reticent to articulate these particular values, or they may simply be unaware of Ukraine's achievements this year. Indeed, there have been historic achievements which have been accomplished this year. Yale's HRL, for example, like you can see here, have performed work which has resulted in a number of Ukrainian captives identified within Russian territory. Children from Ukraine are placed with citizens of Russia in such a way that their guardianship turns into adoption. This is stated in the report here. And this is a quote itself from a state official in Moscow Oblast. So organizations such as Save Ukraine, Bring Back Kids UA have resulted in achievements, things like the 1037 children returned from deportation, returned from forced transfers or the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. So I just thought it was important to say that for those like-minded, or to the contrary, we perhaps mix our sadness regarding some or many of the events of this war with some trepidation at expressing it. Yet this war is being fought in the Ukrainian court, not in any other court. Ukrainians decide how to prosecute it and have proven judicially fair in their targeting of their and our shared enemy. I was saying to a friend of ours, ATP Geopolitics, this week, ours is an activism centered around the permanent preservation of innocent Ukrainian life from Russian tyranny. Russian tyranny. This tyranny that you can see here. The protection of the innocence of childhood and those who are vulnerable at any age. Because by envy's hand and murder's bloody axe, we know the Russians intend to pursue their current strategy of war crimes. And they will do so until the centers of their munitions manufacturing or wartime political power are vaporized by the hand of a Ukrainian Themis. The saving of as many lives as possible, no matter this war's length, is shared by many more than you may realize. So, while you live, tell truth, shame the devil. Happy New Year, everybody. Slava Ukraini.
Heroim Slava.